Welcome to NJCAA Hot Hoops, Season 2, Episode 1. Kenya Landers, Dan Olson. We're here to talk some JUCO hoops, man. It's flown by, Kenya. Here we
Yeah,
are again.
I know.
To have you with us, and let's get right into it, Kenya. Okay?
Absolutely. Let's do it. So
Yeah.
excited about the new
Uh,
season.
Look, reflecting back just quickly,
Yeah.
Hutch. They're still number one in the country. They ran the table last year, went undefeated, won a national title game in overtime over Northwest Florida State.
Yeah.
Those are our two top teams for the current poll that's
Mhm.
come out here in October. Um, we're going back to Casper, Wyoming this year again, and I believe ESPN Plus is still streaming the games there. It was an exciting time in Casper last year in March, and we're going to hope for the same again. Parity is the key, Kenya. Parity.
Seriously. Yeah. Yeah. Talk about parity. So, yeah, Hutch is running the table, but they had a close one.
They did.
They had a close one. Was it Murray State?
Murray State
Murray
almost caught
State.
him.
Murray
Yeah, they
State.
almost caught him.
But my girl Haley, my girl Haley said not today and dropped
Yeah,
30.
yeah, ain't gonna happen.
Not happening. She is
Uh,
so fun to watch, man. So fun.
Look, there's been some coaching changes that have,
Yes.
I mean, there's been probably a lot more than I'm even going to list. Okay. But some of the more distinct changes that have happened among the national powers, um, Mitch Rolls, who was at Iowa Western, takes the job at Chipola. John Markham, who was at Chipola, now an assistant at Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So Chipola's got a new guy on the block, and they're off to the races. I watched them over the past weekend. He's got some talent. Jamie Fisher, who is at small town Connors State, Oklahoma, with a tradition-rich program at Connors over the long haul. He heads south. He goes all the way to Florida Southwestern down in Fort Myers. I'm going to see him on Friday watching their games. They've got Northwest Florida State in town, Miami-Dade. So
Those
there's
guys are cold. They're tired of the cold weather.
they had to be
They wanted sunny
already.
sunshine.
It's been mild. I mean, they got to go south.
Yeah.
Zach Lowell. Here's a guy that's been in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
He was at Wabash. He's been in a number of schools, Dodge City. Um, he finds his way to Iowa Western. I saw him last month with his team. Got to see Zach again. So best of luck to Zach in his new endeavor there, Division II Iowa Western. Um, Ingrida Hartsfield takes over for the legendary Harry Meeks at Vincennes. Powerhouse Vincennes over the long haul, and Harry's finally retired. And Ingrida played for him
Uh-huh.
and was a really good player. And now she's come back there to beautiful Vincennes, Indiana. Um,
Don't you ever not want to be the person that follows the legend though? Like, you
that's not
know,
easy.
I mean, that's tough. I
Mhm.
have 100% confidence in her, but I'm telling you, I'd rather go somewhere that after the legend and they messed it up and then I can go make it look good.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. No
Yeah.
pressure. And then Amber Guffey, who was an assistant at Murray State in Kentucky, she took over the job at Daytona. The former coach at Daytona took an assistant spot or associate spot at North Florida. So that's just a few of them that I've noticed. I'm sure that there's many more, but you know, that's kind of a cap to begin with of where we're at with the season to start.
Now let me get in your brain for a minute and pull some of that Dan Olson knowledge out, okay?
Okay.
So, how difficult do you think that it is to take over JUCO programs in comparison to Division One?
I
Do you think
think
it's more difficult? Do you think it's easier?
um I think there's a degree of equalness to that. I think you probably have more players to pull from that you can go find because you're less restricted to a certain extent.
Sure. Yep.
Um, but you don't have as many outside forces working on you as you do Division One. The
Sure. Yeah.
Division
Yeah.
One coach nowadays has got so many crazy things going on with NIL and
Yeah.
trying to keep everybody happy, and there's not enough time in the day for all of them. The
Right.
JUCO people, I think they're like, okay, this is my practice time. This is what I got cooking.
Yeah.
And if we want to get into other stuff, then that's so be it, But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I agree.
I think there's a difference there, but um and there's a certain degree of the same pressure, but for those schools that are outside of the top 20 that have never really made it, is there as much pressure? Probably not.
Right. Right. Yeah.
You bring that from within,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
think, because with the Division 1 thing, it's I can't oversign. I only have so many kids I can get rid of, and
Yeah.
that whole thing, not get rid of, not that that's the goal, but when you're taking over a program, you want your own,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you want your
exactly.
style of players. And so I often think about, like, depends on the time of year you get the job, right? Like April's obviously a good time to take over a job. JUCO, that doesn't happen very often. It's normally in the summer or something like that. And you're scrambling last minute, but
Yeah.
um, I just wonder, like, it can't be easy. I mean,
Mm.
I've done it, and it was April, so it's very early when Michael and I went back and took over Trinity Valley, and we had time, but even with that, we felt like we were behind, right?
Oh yeah. No, you
um,
got to really hustle those first
yeah,
4 or 5 months.
yeah,
And I think when you're starting a program that really want to put your signature on it, you ain't breathing for about a year and a half
no, no,
till
you're
you really
not,
feel like you're okay. I've kind of like stabilized myself here,
right? Yeah,
So, but yeah,
yeah,
you're right. You got to run some people off.
yeah, just a little bit. Help them find a
That's
home.
reality, baby. I mean, that's
Yeah,
what we're
it
talking
is.
about here,
It is. That's
So,
right. That's right.
um, listen, when we come back, we're going to talk a rewind of the past week. And, we're just starting off here. NJCAA Hot Hoops. We'll be right back.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
Okay, we're back with NJCAA Hot Hoops, Kenya Landers and Dan Olson. We're talking rewind, the previous week's scores. There have been some interesting scores now and some pretty good games for an early on part of the year, Kenya.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and we just touched on, or you just touched on earlier, the Hutch score with Murray. I don't know what was going on there. I didn't see the game, but you're
And it
right.
was at home for Hutch, right?
Was it? Was it
A
really? I
home
didn't
game.
even know. But
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, I mean, Haley Jackson saved the day. She dropped 30,
Not today.
Yeah. And they kept the running number alive. So Hutch still undefeated. They're at 4-0, I believe.
Hmm.
Um, the Dave Craigle, talk about a legend in women's JUCO basketball. Dave Craigle retired a few years ago at um, Walter State Community College up in Morristown. And they held a tournament. Trinity Valley went up there and they got beat by Shelton by 2. Kennedy Davis had 30, but the guard from Shelton, Michaela Hobdy, had a solid game, 20 and 12 assists, against Trinity Valley. So that was a big game for Shelton, especially.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that was a good tournament. I wanted to make that, but it can't be in 2 places at once.
You can't be
Um,
everywhere, Dan.
yeah. Wabash Valley makes a big win over Three Rivers. These are two teams that are closely ranked. And 76-73, your favorite player, beautiful Wahid, drops 28.
Beautiful.
Yep. By the way, she has committed to St. John's.
That's a good grab by them.
Yeah.
That's a great
Athlete, plays
pickup.
with an edge. Yep.
Yes. That fits
Um,
their style. I love that.
Kaylee Thompson, kind of a pogo stick hybrid guard or wing forward, 17 for Three Rivers. She was one of their better players at the end of the year going into this national tournament. She was impressive.
We call
And
that the juice, Dan. The pogo
yeah,
stick, we call that the juice. She
the
got the
juice.
juice.
And she
Yeah.
got the juice then. Uh, Randy Rogers, who we'll have on in the hot seat. He ain't ducking nobody early on. He played
No,
Eastern
he
Arizona
ain't scared.
and hey, he beat him by 8. And Kennedy Gillette, who's a downtown shooting guard, she
Mhm.
had 20. For Ashlyn Charleston, who's a post player, fairly skilled at her position for Eastern Arizona, had 11 and 10 rebounds. And then, we're going to talk a little more Southern Idaho.
Yeah,
I
I'm
watched
excited
them
about
over the
that.
past weekend. They played in Niceville, Florida, in the Panhandle, and they knocked off Pensacola by 4. And they had 19-point lead going into halftime. And Pensacola turned on the afterburners and started pressuring and turning you over and knocking down threes. Next thing you know, Pensacola had 2 shots at the end
Yes.
to win it. And they failed at both attempts, but they were there and just didn't capitalize, So, but Jada McDonald, kind of a pogo stick forward inside for Pensacola. She fell asleep in the first half, woke up the second half, did a nice job. She had 16. And Adriana Benson also had 16. Adriana's going to Central Florida. She's committed to Central Florida. Kind of a real motorized little guard, kind of elusive. And but then Northwest Florida State playing at home crowd. They put it on Southern Idaho 56-42. I think Southern Idaho might have caught too much sunshine down there on the beach. And
Got hot. They
that's
got hot.
that's the key. You go to Florida, man, you got to watch out for that sunshine.
Yeah, you got to drink that water. Next thing you know,
Yeah,
cramping
that's
up.
what they did.
But you know
Um,
what I really love about this Southern Idaho Pensacola game and all of these preseason games, right? So that the Southern Idaho Pensacola games are, to me, great things that you can pull for your team, right? So a lot can be said about Pensacola being all the way down and not quitting and fighting back, right? And then so there's a good you can take with that from them. And then Southern Idaho, it's like you guys got to keep the pedal on the metal, or the metal
yeah,
on the pedal. You know what I'm trying to say.
something like that.
You gotta keep the pedal on the gas. You
There you
gotta
go.
keep going. You can't get complacent. And
Yep.
so I think that's why we talked about these teams that are playing these tough schedules. You gotta do it so that these players
They
can grow
realize.
and realize, because they gotta grow up fast in JUCO.
Yeah,
You
you
gotta
got to
grow
figure
up
it out
fast.
on the fly,
No doubt. No
Yeah.
doubt. So much
So
fun.
anyway, there's been many more games I'm sure that we've missed over
Yeah.
the first week. Some of them were like, running people over, but those were a
Oh,
few.
I'm sorry. The McLennan Frank Phillips game. What about that?
Fill me in.
Okay, so McLennan versus Frank Phillips, 55-44. Now McLennan they have played, and we're going to talk about this I think a little bit later, but they've played a pretty good schedule and they're clicking on all cylinders. So
Yeah.
these are fun games. I'm not going to jump ahead.
Yeah.
But that was a game that really, really caught my eye.
Well,
Really.
look, when we come back, let's fast forward to our next segment, and we'll talk with Randy Rogers. He's the head coach at the College of Southern Idaho, and we've talked about him here during these past few games that he's played,
Yeah.
and he'll shed some light on his team. And look forward to hearing from Randy Rogers when we come back on NJCAA Hot Hoops.
As the second largest intercollegiate athletic association in the country, the NJCAA serves not only a pivotal role in college athletics, but in higher education. The NJCAA Foundation aims to move the association forward through resources, grant programs, and other special initiatives. Your gift to the NJCAA Foundation will make a difference and create opportunities.
We're back with NJCAA Hot Hoops. First show of the year, Kenya, Dan Olson. We've got our guest on for today, Randy Rogers, College of Southern Idaho.
Yay.
Randy, thanks for coming with us on the show today. And let's talk about your team. Kenya, kick it off, babe.
Yeah. Well, Randy, first of all, thank you so much, or Coach Rogers, I thank you so much for being with us today. So excited to have you on. So excited to hear about all things CSI and just really want to know, my first question for you is, it's been a long time there, right? Like you have made College of Southern Idaho your home. And I always feel like there's a few reasons that people, go somewhere and they stay and they call it home. And so I'm interested to hear from you and see what has held you there. Like what is so special about College of Southern Idaho that's made you want to stay there and call it home?
Yeah, well, I'm kind of a West Coast guy. I was born in Utah, grew up in Nevada, started my coaching career in high schools in Nevada. I really didn't search out this job. Somebody came to me and asked me to apply. They gave it to me. And, I have 4 daughters and kind of a situation. I lost my wife about 12 years ago, and now I'm trying to raise these 4 girls. And they loved it here. When we moved here and stuff, they were young. And so that was a big part of it, is trying to keep something stable for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously when you're at what I would call one of the top 20 JUCOs in the country, where you're supported, with your academics, but you're really supported with your athletics, and you have scholarships, and they'll allow you to recruit anywhere you would like to recruit to. So I mean that's just a situation that everybody looks for at this level. I have had some offers to go as a Division I assistant at some 4-year schools, but the freedom I get here, Daddy likes to golf, and so
when Daddy wants to go,
hey, we're gonna practice at this time today. When I might sneak out later, but just the freedom you kind of get to run your own program, and really the community support here. We go all over the country, and nobody packs the gyms like CSI does, and so if you feel like it's just a special place, it's a family. Obviously now with 23 years here, the kids have come through here. I still consider them family, and like I said, when you got one of the best jobs, that you want to hang on to it, and I feel very fortunate, and we're very blessed to have been here this long.
Yeah, that's awesome. And there's so much respect there, like for so many different reasons. But sometimes, especially when you're in this building, you always think there's got to be something somewhere better, instead of just building, what you want at that place. So much respect for you and the job you're doing there.
Yeah, and Ken, don't get me wrong. When I see some of these salaries out there, I think I probably made a big mistake. We're not going to get rich doing this, but I do feel like we've changed lives, and nobody's leaving this earth with their money. So
that's right.
I think the quality of life has a lot to do with why I'd stayed as well.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Okay, so let's talk about your team a little bit. Like you guys are 3-1. You guys have had some good wins. And what I've noticed about your team is you got a lot of different girls, a lot of different ladies that are scoring points for you. Savannah, Kayla, I think it's Ashley, Mariah. I think maybe is it Mariah? Mariah, yeah. You got a lot of different girls putting up a lot of different things. So just talk about, every year is a brand new clean slate, you know, in JUCO more than anywhere. So just talk about like your returners and your incoming players and who has just really, you know, stepped up for you and who you have big expectations for.
Yeah, it's been tough lately, with the transfers. I lost 5 pretty good freshmen. 3 of them went to Division I as freshmen, and that's kind of what we're trying to do is get these kids to move on. But when we got this team this year, I didn't know what to expect. We have 12 new faces, young, inexperienced. Our returners got a couple, Mariah Mons, Kennedy Gillette got a little bit of playing time, but other than that, nobody. We did pick up 2 transfers from the NWAC, which is, they were great scorers at the NWAC, and so they're just role players for us at this level. But the expectations, what I love about this team is their work ethic. I just think we have a lot of growth, especially on the defensive side, to get better. I think one thing I've always prided myself in is where we start and where we finish is a big change. And I want this team to continue to get better. These are gym rats. All these kids that you mentioned, coach, can we get in the gym in the morning? Can we stay after practice? Will you help me with my shot? And you don't get that a lot, with kids nowadays.
Not with TikTok and Snapchat and
Yeah,
Instagram. That's where they want to go right
Yeah,
there.
and don't get me wrong, these guys, I'll peek after practice and they're trying to do some kind of TikTok dance.
Hey, as long as it's in the right order, right?
That's right. No, they're gym rats. I think this team is going to be probably my best. Now, I shouldn't say that. We went 2 for 26 from the 3-point line against Northwest. And I felt like that was the big difference in the Northwest Florida game this last weekend. We just couldn't make shots. We didn't turn it over against them. The rebounds were a wash, but we just didn't make shots that I think typically we're going to make. We were 2 for 26, and normally we're going to shoot 35 to 40% from the 3-point line with this group. We can blame it on a lot of stuff, legs, tired, traveled. Now, since the season started, scrimmages, we've flown to Denver twice. We've been to Salt Lake. Now we've been to Florida. We still got some long 14-hour trips to Gillette, Wyoming. We got to go to Yuma, Arizona. So we're going to really challenge this group away from home.
Yeah.
And, we'll see where we're at in the end. I think our conference is better than it's been the last couple of years with some a little bit more depth. There's some scary teams in our conference this year that's going to make it competitive. So I love the challenge, but again, getting back to this team, I think we're going to be very good defensively, and if we have nights where we shoot the ball pretty well, we're going to do okay.
And do you think, because I was looking at the box score against Northwest Florida, and I kind of thought, man, I wonder if this is an experience situation. Like I wonder if those kids had never necessarily played in those games, and you get a little tight, right? You get a little tight, shots go a little short, you start rushing things, and so I feel like you guys have the idea that the more you're in this tough schedule that you built, which in my opinion, that's the only way to go in the preseason. You got to figure out who you are, right? I feel like you're going to see a lot of growth from that. And then when they're in that position again, those missed shots are going to be made shots is what you hope for, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of miss the days where all the region championships get to go to the national tournament. And then you
back in my day,
build your team around that, and you didn't have to worry about at-larges and stuff like that.
Yep.
It was a lot nicer. It's like, sit your butt on the bench. I'll use you in 2 games from now. I don't need to win right now. But you'd like to have that chance in case there is an at-large available down the road. So that's changed things just a little bit. But going back to the challenge part, yeah, absolutely. So for our kids this year, we've got to play Odessa. We've already played Kilgore, Texas, Frank Phillips, now Northwest Florida, Eastern Arizona, Pensacola. These are all teams we've either scrimmaged or played, and our kids now are starting to get an idea. If we get to the national tournament, this is what it looks like. You got to play at a high level. It gets a little more physical, and just some better athletes at times than we get sometimes in our conference. One thing I like about our conference, it's X's and O's and strategy, and but when you get to the national level, you better be able to match up with the athleticism. When you get back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, my hat's off to you in respect to your scheduling, because a lot of people aren't going to do that.
No.
Played some heavyweights early, and that's going to come back to help you in the long run, Randy,
Well,
for sure.
I hope so, Dan. I'm I'm old now, so I don't care about my record. I really could care less about wins and
Yeah.
losses right now. I love the challenge as a coach to try to figure out how to beat the good teams. That's
Right.
I've always enjoyed that part of coaching. Trying to figure things out that way. We still got some tough ones on the road. This Arizona Western team is going to be good, and the North Dakota School of Science, Casper is always going to be good at the end. So we got to go on the road and play some of those teams as well. So yeah, I love the challenge of a tough schedule.
Cares about the record when they've already won over 500 games?
Yeah, really.
Who's worried
500.
about their coaching record when they're already in the 500 club?
And I
Congrats
have
on that,
personally
by the
not
way.
scored 1 point. I have never
Congrats on
scored.
that, by the way,
It's
though.
kids.
That's
Kids
a
and players.
good club to be a part of.
Sure. Yeah.
Two of your better players, Kenya, I want to share with you too. Ashley Garner
Yeah.
has fast become one of my favorite players. Okay.
Yeah.
6'2" forward, center. She likes the contact. She's a physical low block player, but can step out. She's going to get a lot of attention, Randy, on the recruiting side for sure. As is Kennedy.
Quiet, Dan. We don't need all this out there.
Yeah, I know.
No, you're right, and she has already.
Yeah.
Kennedy Gillette too on your team is a big guard that's got some downtown range. Everybody loves a shooter, and those are two of your better players, I think, that are really going to have to carry you down the road.
I agree. I agree. I think those two are going to be real steady, almost double kids for us.
Yeah.
And then it's going to come down to our point guard play, really, to be honest, being able to handle us, get us set up in our offenses and stuff. And, Samara Morrow has all this talent, and she's got Division I looks right now, but she's still just learning. She goes through these ups and downs right now. And so we'll need that. We have another point guard that's got an ACL tear that was a 2-time state champ. But we don't know if we'll get her back this year. Probably not. So we'll have to go with what we have right now.
Yeah, I think you'll figure it out.
Yep. And nobody's gonna feel sorry for you. So
nope, I know. Hey, don't tell other JUCO coaches that you're young, and don't tell them that you're injured because they don't want.
They're like, yes.
Yeah.
Who do you got in the coming up now this next week? Who do you have?
We've been on the road for the last month or so. So we're taking this weekend off, and then we got Western Nebraska coming in, and then. One thing I'd probably talk about, one of the struggles we have here is scheduling, trying to get teams to come to our place. We are so isolated west. Now North Idaho's in the same boat just a little bit. Just trying to get teams out here. And, we do have Columbia State coming out. We've had Trinity's come out in the past. South Plains have come out in the past. It's actually not bad. You pay for flights, but we usually give teams a pretty good guarantee, plus hotel rooms, plus van rentals. We do a lot for teams that come in. We'd like to get more teams out this way, but sometimes we have to pick up a JV team here or there. I don't like doing that, to be honest, at all. But sometimes we're forced into it, unfortunately. Yeah. And I know everybody's doing it for the most part, but we're 13 hours from anywhere, for the most part. So it's tough to get teams to come in. But we got NJC coming in the following week. And then we go on the road to, we do play a Division II school I think is going to be one of the top is Mesa, Arizona. They're always tough down there. Yeah, I know they're D2, but they beat us last year. We got to go to their place again, and then we go over to Arizona Western to play them, and also in December. And like I said, we go to Gillette to play Casper and North Dakota School of Science, who's got a pretty good program going right now.
Mm.
Well, you sold me. I got to make my way to CSI. I've never been.
Come on, Dan.
I know. I mean, I've been a lot of places, but I got to make an effort.
Yeah, we'll set you up nice. We'll get you one of the nicer hotels. It's actually a great place. The surrounding area, it supports about 150,000 people. It's not a tiny little town. It's grown. It's about an hour and a half from Boise and probably 3 hours from Salt Lake. So, but it's a great community. Plus, you got to see Evel Knievel where he jumped the Snake River.
Hey,
you don't even know who that is. I know you don't know who
Evel
Knievel is.
Oh yeah.
I just want to know how cold is it? Has it already freezing?
Me and Dan used to watch Wide World of Sports on TV every Saturday.
There you go. Yeah. I'm an Eagle fan. I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Kenya, anything else?
No, I just, Coach, thanks again. I know how it
Um,
is. I know you're busy. You're juggling a lot of different things. You got a lot on your plate, and so I just appreciate you taking some time out to visit with us today. Have to tell you, I love your poster behind you. Work hard and be nice to people.
yeah, work hard,
That's
be
one of the
nice.
things I tell my kids, my own kids, all the time. Be nice to people. Work hard
Yeah.
and be nice to people. So
Yeah,
that's a good one to live
this
by.
world's a little different now, and boy,
Yeah,
we can sure make a difference, and we try to as coaches, make a difference, but we got to come together. But
absolutely.
so
Well, good
I
luck,
Coach,
Coach.
appreciate
thank
what
you.
you guys do as well. This is pretty neat. So
Yeah,
good luck the rest of the year.
we're glad to
Yeah,
give women's basketball a platform in the JUCO
yeah.
side for sure.
We're
Thank you.
honored to do it. It's such a great opportunity to just keep women's basketball on the platform and just continue more awareness. And so, just share our show with whoever you know. And we were very surprised last year when there was so many people that still didn't know that the hot hoops exist. So,
Yeah, I
yeah,
know.
yeah.
No,
So we just want to get
no,
all the
we'll
awareness.
try we'll try to blast it out as much as we can out here in the West. So
Awesome,
Right.
awesome.
yeah, you guys just like I said, have a great year, Dan. Hopefully see you down the road somewhere.
You'll see me
Maybe in
soon.
Casper, we'll see.
Yep, you'll see me
Yeah.
soon.
All right. Well, good luck, Coach.
Randy,
Okay.
thanks for being on Hot Hoops, and we'll be right back.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
We're back with NJCAA Hot Hoops. Kenya, we're going to talk some upload, fast forwarding here through the week ahead and seeing what we got going on. There's probably a lot of good games, too many to mention, but I figured, you know what, let's touch base on some of the teams that I've seen throughout the Jamboree season of October and some of those teams that have really made an impact on me and ones that I think are going to really impact the top 20 and make a run at the national tournament. Gulf Coast, I just saw recently. They've got a lot of the same mainstays as they had last year, but they've got a couple of impactful freshmen. They got size, and they're gonna be there at the end, I would think, in that always tough Panhandle Conference. But they got some players. So Northwest Florida State, obviously, they're the big dog. They're the one that you have to beat to get out of that league. But Chipola's gotten better. I
Yeah.
think, on paper, I think Pensacola is solid. They'll sneak up on you. So um
And then they all got to play each other like 3 or 4 times, right?
yeah, it's like a merry-go-round.
Ain't no way I would want to do that.
No, I know.
Just you can't be scared.
Some of these teams we talked about all the time last year. It's
Yeah.
no different this year. Coach East has played some people early.
Yes.
And she's got an interesting group. She's got, some good solid guard play that's gotten better. And she'll put them through the rigors of tough games
Mhm.
to get them ready. As does Pearl River. Pearl River's got a rebuilt sort of a team. He's got some impact guards that have transferred in. Mississippi Gulf Coast the same way. She lost a couple, but she's still got one good wing player. And she's going to be, I think, equally as competitive this year. And the new kid on the block, Itawamba, Mississippi, they have got some nice players on their team. If they can come together as a team, they were fairly good when I watched them play early in Jamboree season.
Tell me about them. What they got going?
Uh, their
Guard play?
head coach Robin Porter, if you remember Chris Porter
Yes.
from Auburn
Yes.
days, she's the head coach there, and they have athletes. They can press you. They can push it. They've got athletic forwards that go get it on the glass.
Mhm.
She just kind of keeps coming at you, much like Pearl River. They've got similar types of personnel where they've got waves of players that, they don't miss a beat maybe when they're coming in off of timeouts or,
Yeah.
substitutions, Um, New Mexico, I mean, he's been running over people. Garden City,
Yeah.
Dodge City. Dodge was pretty good, but they've made some impactful wins here early. But Garden City's much improved. Greg Franklin putting his name on that program.
You knew it
And,
wasn't going to take long.
yeah, in New Mexico, he's got some players, I mean, he's just steamrolling people. Um, Look, two teams that I also saw on the Division II side that were pretty good. Uh, Former national champion CCBC Essex out of Baltimore.
Yeah.
He's got some nice players, as does Union, New Jersey. Um, they really impressed me when I saw them last month in the Jamborees. They're going to make a run on the Division II side. I think they're going to be a formidable opponent for anybody. But I tell you, Panola in Texas,
I was looking
she's
at
got a
them.
nice team. She's got some kids that can play, and I was really impressed with the way they looked. As I saw them play during the jamboree. She's
They're
got depth.
scoring
She's got
tons of points.
size. She got really
Yes.
good guard play. Yeah,
They're scoring a ton, like right out of the gate, 104 points, then like 96, then like 92. I mean, they are rolling with the points. They
yeah.
are pushing the ball and playing really fast.
And
Obviously.
staying in Texas, you got McLennan. McLennan might be a dark horse in this whole thing.
Now listen, McLennan went to Cedar Hill, Texas, and got Tajane Gooden, who is
Mhm.
a freaking winner.
Yes.
And she got there's Tajane Gooden and then Taylor Craver. Both of those girls are from Cedar Hill.
Yep.
They can defend, they can score. Like those were good grabs for McLennan.
She's got another player from Terrell. It's about a 6'2" wing player,
Yes.
Shavaria Smith, who's been injured during this jamboree.
Okay.
A lot of people were hunting this kid in recruitment of her. And I'm excited to see how they're going to do as we move forward here in the season, because she's got players that can press, they can run. I mean, they're going to be fun to watch. So hold on. Here we go.
Better hold on tight. Keep
Yeah.
up and get left behind.
Be nice now. And I'll tell you what, South Plains is a lot better than they were a year ago.
Mhm.
Had a down year last year. He knew it. They've got a nice team moving forward. So that West Texas JUCO with Odessa's as good, if not maybe better than they were last year, and they made it fairly far in the national tournament last year. So, you got a couple of power leagues. You got a bunch of other guys out there like the Wabash and all,
Right.
Wabash has got a lot of depth and athleticism, a little bit more of a different balanced team than he had a year ago. Be an interesting year coming ahead.
Yeah,
So,
sitting at number 3 in the country, man. Like,
yeah. Yep. So be
Right.
interesting to see how the next poll comes out, what we've got changed. But
Yeah.
Anyway, when we come back, let's do some closing remarks, Kenya. We'll talk about the following weeks ahead
Yeah.
here on NJCAA Hot Hoops.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
We're back with NJCAA Hot Hoops. Kenya, let's talk about what we've done over the past year in closing every show.
Yeah.
You take it from here. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Dan and I love to hear from you guys. Like, we love to hear what you guys are thinking about. What are some different subjects we should talk about? So we have what's called the Hot Hoops mailbag. Now, you guys have the opportunity to go to the NJCAA X account, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and submit your mailbag questions there. You can also always submit your mailbag questions to me personally on my personal Twitter account, which is at Kenya Landers. And then you can also submit them to Dan as well. So we just want to hear from you. We really like to talk with our fans, with our other women's basketball lovers. And so we want to know what's on your mind. What are some questions you guys have? What are some things you want to talk about? So get in the inbox and send us some mailbag questions.
Well said.
One of my favorite parts of the show.
Yeah, it's fun, off the cuff stuff, that we don't expect to hear
And I
about.
don't share them with you either. That's
Yeah, I mean, let's just wing it. Yeah. So listen, to close the show, Harry Meeks retired at Vincennes Community College in Vincennes, Indiana. What a tremendous asset he had been to the women's basketball period. He defined it at Vincennes. A legendary career, well respected. I can't say enough about Harry. I love watching his teams play. And boy, he was a disciplinarian. He made those kids really grind, but it paid off for him. And I know in his latter years before his retirement, he kind of mellowed on me. I was kind of disappointed. But nonetheless, what a great career. Harry, enjoy your retirement, and I know you won't be not watching basketball. You'll still be in it. But yeah.
And hats off.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Great career.
Yeah. Let's call it a day, Kenya. We'll be back next week with NJCAA Hoops. Go right ahead.
Yeah, great first show. Super excited to be back. It was like we had a long time, and then once we had like a little bit of cold weather, I was like, it's basketball season. It's time. It's time to get our hot hoops going. So you guys see Dan all the time out on the road. I'm going to make a better effort to get out and see some people personally instead of just on my iPad or on my phone. So we're looking forward to an exciting year. It's going to be a great, great year. Looking forward to seeing how everybody grows and meshes as a team. And we'll see how this bracket holds intact, or this poll holds intact. We'll see how that goes this year. So good luck to everybody, and we'll be following you guys.